My friends, this is your Congressman, John Dowdy, asking your help in my campaign for re-election. I first want to thank you for the splendid way in which you have assumed the burdens of my campaign while I have had to be in Washington attending to my duties as your Congressman. Words cannot express my gratitude for your kindnesses to Mrs. Dowdy and the generous hospitalities which you have extended to her as she has campaigned throughout the district. I will never forget you. In voting for John Dowdy, you can be sure you're voting for the people and for the things you believe in. John Dowdy is a real Democrat and represents the people's interests. I positively will not take dictation from any pressure group. Jimmy Hoffa and his ilk have long since learned this fact and have dedicated all their power and resources to purge me from Congress. The people of the 7th District will repudiate them. I cannot match the unlimited expenditures for television and other expensive advertising as the opposition is doing, and must rely upon you, my friends, to carry my message to the people. I will never believe that Hoffa or anyone else can buy the voters in our district with any amount of money. John Dowdy is the only real Democrat in this race. Some misguided individuals seem to have the idea that a Democrat must be a rubber stamp. That is absolutely false, and the truth is that in Washington, as anywhere else, a rubber stamp is not respected. All of the leading Democrats of America, including the Speaker of the House, the Democratic Majority Leader, the Democratic Whip, and the Democratic Chairman of the Congressional Committees, have publicly expressed their respect for and endorsement of John Dowdy as a real Democrat and a real American. And Sam Rayburn said many times that the worst thing a district can do for itself is to keep changing congressmen. John Dowdy is running for office on his record and on his own merits. I dislike mudslinging and dirty politics. You know my record and what I stand for. The opposition has no record and is silent on its stand on the issues facing our nation today. It has brought out a smear sheet misrepresenting my record. I think the intelligent voter sees through the innuendos and falseness in such mudslinging and dirty tactics. I do not believe you will consider ability to misrepresent facts as being a qualification for office. I am standing on the record I have made. Most of you know that record. The socialist and other left-wing elements disagree, but I believe it is a record that you and I and our district can be proud of. My votes are in the interest of the people. You be the judge as to whose interests the Jimmy Hoffas and other radicals are seeking to serve. If you have not received a copy of my voting record, I will be happy to mail one to you. John Dowdy is for the things that are good for America and the people of the 7th District. I oppose those things which are harmful to us. I have continuously sought your advice through questionnaires and other means to better represent you. I have appreciated the thousands of replies that you have sent me. From them, I have been able to give you the representation you desire and deserve. As you know, I have opposed the foreign aid program, and particularly opposed aid to communist countries. The billions of dollars given away in this manner would have produced untold prosperity if used to satisfy our needs in our own country and to take care of our own needy people. It is in this area that the opposition differs with me the most. In a speech in Lufkin a few days ago, on April 12th, the opposition advocated continuation of foreign aid to communist Yugoslavia. That country has shot down our planes. It opposes us on every issue, and it says it would fight against us in case of war. I place America first. I would not give any communist country a penny, and will continue to follow your wishes and my own good judgment by opposing and fighting against this insidious influence and destructive drain on the resources of our people. Your vote for John Dowdy is a vote for our own country. Be proud of your vote by re-electing John Dowdy to Congress. My friends, this is your Congressman, John Dowdy, thanking you for your support and for listening.
The late Mr. Sam, the Texan, who was a man of wisdom and power in government, said, "The worst thing a district can do is to keep changing its representative." Mr. Sam was recognizing the fact that a man like your Representative John Dowdy, over the years, has worked himself up in committees which are closed to a beginner. He has perfected techniques and friendships and working arrangements and cooperations which will take a newcomer years to duplicate. Now there are over 400 representatives in the House. One vote is worth, then, less than 1/4 of 1%. And when some fresh-faced youngster promises to reverse population trends and change the face of our economy overnight, he is due for a rude awakening, and so is the district which elected him. Send a wise and experienced man like John Dowdy back to Washington. Remember the words of Mr. Sam Rayburn, "The worst thing a district can do is to keep changing its representative."
I belong to the younger generation. I like John Dowdy because he has what it takes to stand up to pressure groups and lukewarm Americans. Now, I've read his voting record, and for my money, he voted for every single thing which was good for Americans and America. I know some people object because Mr. Dowdy doesn't always vote as he is told to. Well, I read what he voted against, and the way I see it, he is putting the interest of this country ahead of any personal advantage he might get by being a rubber stamp. The way I see it, he really is our representative. I feel that the future of this district and the future of this country is safe in the hands of a man as strong, determined, and unselfish as John Dowdy.
May 5th is just around the corner. Since our children must live under the protection afforded by our government and under the conditions which our government imposes, I believe that women must concern themselves with the kind of man that we send to Washington to represent us. I, as one mother, am thoroughly disgusted with excusing low moral standards of honesty and integrity in candidates on the grounds that they are politicians. I believe that the women of this country can demand decent, ethical standards of those who ask us for our vote. I am proud to be able to vote for John Dowdy, our representative in Washington. I appreciate the unrewarding fight he has made to keep filth out of the U.S. mails, how he has backed every good thing which will make this a more wonderful place for our children to live. And I am equally proud that he has courageously fought against the cynical men who would erode our freedom and independence. I appeal to all women in our district to vote for a man of decency, wisdom, and courage, John Dowdy.
A letter from an East Texas dairyman. I'm sick and tired of hearing John Dowdy criticized for voting against the Yankee politicians in Washington who want to flood Texas with a lot of inferior, out-of-state milk. Now, as one man who's working early and late to make ends meet in dairying, I'd like to tell this Johnny-come-lately kid that I'd a whole lot rather have a congressman who votes for us Democrats here at home than those Democrats in northern states who don't give a hoot what their national milk bill would do to us here in East Texas. Now, John Dowdy is 100% Democrat. John Dowdy is first for the people here at home. He does not sell you out to please out-of-state politicians. For my vote, and I'm a dyed-in-the-wool, solid East Texas Democrat, the man is John Dowdy as our congressman. Just a minute, Mr. Radio Man. I want to add that that goes for my dad and mother and for my grandpa and grandma, too.
Friends, I'm just a fellow that's trying to make a living here at home in East Texas. I'm not old, but I'm not young. A long way from being rich, but not what you call real poor. I'm a veteran, fought in World War II. So you say, what political office am I running for? None. But I am supporting John Dowdy, because I believe with all my heart that Mr. Dowdy is of a special caliber, and there are not enough of them in Washington. Some folks have criticized his voting record, but not those people who share his love for our country as you and I do. You bet your boots that John Dowdy can be disagreeable. He's not going along to rubber stamp anybody's harebrained idea. But no person can honestly say that John Dowdy has ever voted against anything that was for the good of this congressional district and this state, and for the South, and for America. With John Dowdy, America comes first, regardless of his critics. We've had him 10 years. Let's keep him, because every year he stays in Washington makes him more effective in the interest of our East Texas.
Promises, promises, promises. You've been hearing them on TV from John Dowdy's opponent. He talks for 30 minutes belittling John Dowdy, vaguely referring to some great plan that he has to save East Texas and the world, but never explains this remarkable plan. John Dowdy promises only to continue doing the best job possible for this district, as he has done for the past 10 years. And John Dowdy's record opposing those things which endanger America has been praised by our country's most respected Democrats, who share his concern for America's future as a free nation. Now the fresh-faced youngster from Angelina County, with his financial interest in several bowling alleys and his background as a college football star, would find representing us in Washington a deadly serious business, not a sport. This district's progress and America's future as a republic depends on men like John Dowdy. Let's keep him in office.